All right, you guys, this exercise that we're going to do is all about brush control. This is a picture from my sketchbook, working a thin line with watercolor. You need to choose a color scheme. So kind of like we did with that Generani painting, you are going to choose colors that are similar in the color palette. So looking at my color palette here, warm colors, those are similar. Cool colors, those are similar. You can kind of cross the boundary here if you'd like to do the blue, purple, red. Those are similar. So basically 3 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. Let me set this one aside. I'll get back to my blank paper. First step, of course, I already started taping my edges. I want you guys to tape off. Just a review in case you missed it last time. We tape our edges when we watercolor. We do it by sticking the tape to your pants. I like to stick it on my jeans to kind of de-sticky it so that it won't tear the paper when it's time to pull it off. I'm going with a little bit bigger border here. See how I left a little gap along the edge? No reason to make this one a tiny border. Find the smallest brush you can, a nice thin brush, because what we're trying to do here is create small lines. Choose your color scheme. Wake up your colors a little bit. I think I'm going to go with that purple, red, and orange. So notice I just put a little bit of water in each of those pans so that the color starts to rehydrate, basically, so that you can actually paint with it. For this lesson, it's super important that you are using the tray. So if your tray is mucky, take a wet paper towel and just wipe it out really quick. You need to make more than 3 colors. This is not going to be an interesting project if you just stick with 3 colors the entire time. To make colors, all we're going to do is go like this. I'm going to take some of my orange, I'll clean off my brush so I don't contaminate colors, and I'm going to mix it with my red. Over here now I've created a new color. You can get a little funky with it if you'd like. I could add some yellow in there. I could even add a little teeny bit of blue to dull that color down. Okay, but it still needs to sit in that color family of warm colors. First step for this assignment, I'm going to start with the red. Paint a nice, smooth, wavy line down your page. And I don't mean like a wave, that's boring. Try to create kind of a funky line that sort of winds around the paper. You can decide which way you want it to go. You could even do a zigzag if you don't feel like doing a curving line. It doesn't actually matter that much to me. I'm trying to pick my line back up over there. I recommend you end somewhere else, not at the bottom of your paper. Maybe pick a different corner to kind of wrap it up. And I'm trying to create the thinnest line I can, which means I'm not pressing very hard. I'm also trying to keep the line smooth. You see how I have like a variation here of dark red and light? I'm going to go back and try to work that in. Add the teeniest bit of water and it will kind of bleed together a little bit more. But of course we want clean lines, not lines that are bleeding. So your challenge here is to now start painting more and more lines, making as many colors as you can in your color family, and keeping them right next to each other on the page without them bleeding together. That's the challenge. That means working really slowly, carefully, and minding how hard you push with the brush, because I want the skinniest lines that you can possibly paint. That's pretty much it for this lesson. So if you want to watch me for a second, I'm just going to paint along. Follow this all the way up to the top of the page. Have to work from different directions. You'll find that you have a way that you paint more comfortably. I prefer to pull the brush towards myself than to pull away from myself. That's harder for me. But it just depends on the angles too. Now, remember I said you have to make more colors, so I can't just work with these colors that are in the pan. And please notice that I just turned my paper because that makes some of my angles easier to paint. Oops, I didn't like that. So there's one. Now I wanted to point out to you that we're making colors. So over here I've made this kind of funky weird color. Make sure that you've made enough. Ah, I smeared it when I turned the paper. Don't do that. Dang it. I'm going to go along here with my new color. It's kind of a mucky orange, reddish orange. I like that. You want to make as much color variety as you can to keep this project interesting. So I'm going to stop there. You don't need to watch me do this. I would work both sides all the way to the edge until it is completely finished. Should look something like this when you're done. And of course, you'd pull the tape like I've demonstrated before after the paint is dry.